A few years ago, about 5 actually, I made the very difficult decision to enter a psychiatric facility. The reason I want to talk about this now, well, there's several reasons, is because I finally came to a place where I can go back and I can think about the experience. And there's a lot of things that I, as a sufferer of depression and anxiety, would like to communicate with the outside world. I am obviously out now, thank God. Been out for, I've never returned, although there are plenty of people who go in and out of the facility all the time. The main thing I want to say at the beginning, and I would like to turn these videos into an ongoing series because this is something that I've been a little bit obsessed with for some time, is the fact that it's not the end of the world. And it took me a long time to realize just how not the end of the world it was. My father, when I told him about a week before I went in, I had the good fortune to know that I was falling apart the way that a lot of people don't. And that's a real blessing when you get that. And so I was going in about a week when I told him. And he said something to me that I'm never, ever going to forget. And it was, if you go into the mental hospital, they will never, ever let you leave. He was wrong, thank God. He was under the conception that mental health was still in its 60s heyday, when they would, hold you down and keep you there, hook you up to electrodes and shock you. And he had a much more primitive idea as to what mental health actually is and what a mental health facility does. At that point, I had no idea. It's not every day you go into a facility like that and you get to learn the ropes, right? So as I had to kind of accept that that was the truth, that there was a good chance that I would never be let go, as it would seem. And luckily, I decided that I was far enough along that it was worth that risk. If you go into a mental health facility, if you go into a psychiatric hospital, there's a really good chance you're going to come out better than when you went in, because that's what happened for me. I went in there, and really the main reason I went in was because of suicidal ideation, and I practically had a plan, And when I went in there, I went through a very rigorous set of therapies, and just the stories that came out of that. You would never, ever believe the insanity that I ran into in there. I actually left that facility with a fear of balloons, which is a story I'd really like to tell some other time. But I honestly don't feel like I really began to live my life until I went in. It took that dramatic of an intervention for me to be to finally begin to see things as they were. It was like I was trapped in my own kind of hallucinations. I'm not schizophrenic, but depression presents you with a reality that is extremely not real. And that was what I needed to finally get some ground in my life. And the people that I met there and the insanity that I saw is something that forever changed me for, honestly, the better. It can absolutely change your life. Everybody's experience is different. Some people will tell you that their experience wasn't very good. Mine, it was all the difference. I did not accomplish really anything until I hit that bottom. And the thing is, I feel like it's time to start talking about it now, and it's time to start, engaging with this part of myself, because I would really like to be, and really like to start to think of myself as a mental health advocate. and somebody who talks about these things and tries to normalize the stigma a bit. Because my dad passed away a few years ago, but I almost didn't go to the mental hospital because of his concerns. And I love my dad to death, but his ideas about psychiatric care were completely and totally inaccurate. And so in my effort to try and fight the stigma and to get a better conversation going about mental health itself, I have written a book, and I'm very proud of it. And this isn't one of those books that's extremely clinical. It's not a book that goes on and on about, like, medication and how to treat it, how to recognize it. It's just my story. It's just the people I ran into. It's just the things that happened to me. It's raw and it's real. In the very first chapter, someone asks me if I've seen the Cyclops and if I've seen the titties. And I respond to them, not lately. I remember that guy so thoroughly. And there's a weird profundity to that type of interaction. And yeah, I'm excited about this because this is only part of my story. And I'm hoping that I want this to be a new chapter, So thank you very much for hearing me out. I really appreciate it. There'll be more to come. Wait till you hear about karaoke night.